Painting with Menoth John is presented in Super Legitivision. Super Legitivision, the future of podcasting. It's .com.
Hello, I'm
Menoth John.
and I'd like to welcome you. First of all, let me take just a moment to thank you for allowing me back into your homes. If this is your first time with us, let me extend a personal invitation for you to drag out your
miniatures
and paint along with us each week. Let's go over to the canvas here and let's get started. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. I believe, every day's a good day when you paint. I believe, it'll bring a lot of good thoughts to your heart. Let's build a happy little cloud. Let's build some happy little trees. There are no limits here. You start out by believing here. You can almost paint with anything. All you have to do is practice.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, there are no limits here on the Painting with Menoth John show, but it is Sunday night, and that means that it is all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're kicking it old school. We're bringing it back. We're taking us back to our roots here on the Painting with Menoth John show. I found one of these laying around. It's called a paintbrush, and I am going to actually paint tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This doesn't happen nearly as often as it should on this show, but I'm telling you folks, you tune in for a painting show, and I am obliged to provide you one. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Menoth John. I am your president for life of Warmachine and Hordes, and getting ready to make a full-on coup for the Guild Ball president for life. And with me, of course, I have with me the co-host with the mo-host, the wind beneath my wings, the man that keeps it all on track and makes sure that you, the listener, are listened to on a regular basis. Ladies and gentlemen, pointing, of course, as I am in the wrong direction, John Spencer.
Hey, Brushheads.
Jesus Christ. Am I ever going to learn that this camera is reversed?
I never remember if mine's reversed or not.
It's like I might as well here. See, now I can point at it because I've done it wrong once. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, John Spencer. And while I am still oriented with how to point correctly, ladies and gentlemen, may I suggest you go to patreon.com/menothjohn. We're going to get in the commerce section of tonight's show early and often. You know, John, it's that time of the year, isn't it? It's the holidays, right?
That's right. Give to everyone you can.
That's right.
You can afford to.
You know, if you're thinking about giving a gift to someone, you could just give me the money you are going to use for that gift. And the way that you would do that is at patreon.com/menothjohn. You know, they really don't need that ugly sweater. They honestly don't want it, unless it's like a Star Wars one, and then it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But you know, we have different reward levels. $5 gets you a bottle opener. It's also a mask. We've done that joke too many times. We have exactly, or the Senior Pro. You're seeing John doing the Senior Pro Tour model. And $5 will get you one at the monthly at the episodes, $5 per episode level. If that's a little bit rich for your blood and you just want a sticker, we have those at the $2 level. If you want to just hear the awesome that is the pre-ramble, that's the $1 level. Oh, see, John's holding it up. This is high production shit we got going on right here. So, you know, we have lots of ways that you can send us money, and those are some of them. So, but before we get far too long, I need a little bit of medicine for my throat, John. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening I will start off with a little bit of Kraken as we are kicking it old school. What about you, John?
Oh, shot of Kraken, of course.
Hell yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of John Spencer and me, welcome to your Sunday night addiction. This is the Painting with Menoth John show. Hey, Ron!
Ron.
Now, I didn't drink that all the way down. I just let half of it glide down my throat because I need to be able to paint tonight, because I am going to paint tonight. I have a couple of different models that I'm going to work on. I'm probably going to work on Moros, to be honest with you. I have Doomy 3, who's ready for a little bit of painting, but I also have Moros, and I did some airbrushing on him, so we'll talk about him in just a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, John, I was talking about the patrons and the cronies, and last week we announced that Josh Wheeler, from the Chain Attack podcast had decided to throw his support behind the legitimate presidency for life of Menoth John. And he has joined us as a crony, John.
Excellent.
And I wanted to read, as we are wont to do, if you become a crony at any level, we will give you a cabinet spot. You know, we're a lot more honest about how we rule here in the presidency for life of Warmachine, Hordes, Menoth John. We basically are just upfront and say, you know, we're selling it all off. You know, it's if you want a voice, money is the way to get that voice. And Josh joined us in the cabinet, and I will now read his letter. President for life, as he is wont to be addressing me in the correct manner. I have 2 cabinet position proposals, and I will bow to your wisdom to select an appropriate one. Number 1, the Ministry of Unnecessary Sobriety. I vow to call for the full force of the positivity engine on a monthly basis. And B, I vow to call for rational and thought-provoking discussion from the President for life on a weekly basis. I like those ideas. I don't give them much of a chance. The second one was a Lord Shill of the required shilling department. And this guy's frickin' good at this stuff, let me tell you. I will call weekly for additional subscriptions and or Patreon patrons, preferably for PwMJ, but really whatever floats your boat. I think that's a veiled attempt to get you to subscribe to the dojo at Chain Attack.
Thinly veiled.
And then he will also float boats. So he will, I guess, come to your place if you have a boat that is not floating. He will find a way to float that boat. The Edmund Fitzgerald could have used him. But he wasn't around, and now it's on the bottom of the Lake Superior. The big lake they call Gitchigumi, John.
Do they?
That's a little before your time, I take it. Anyway, so
I'm an East Coast guy. Those Great Lakes jokes go right over my head.
There was a song by a guy by the name of God, what the hell was his name? Gordon Lightfoot. He was Canadian, much like Greenleaf Terrain, John. Right. Also Canadian. And that's a segue right there. But I'm going to walk away from that segue. The Edmund Fitzgerald, he wrote a song called "The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald," and one of the lines in there is they refer to the Indian name of, we're very diverse here on Penny with Menoth, John. We didn't mean Indian, we meant Native American, and the Native American name of Lake Superior, which was Gitchigumi. And so this is also the artist that gave you the song Sundown, which is about a guy that was cheating on his wife, and he had a signal worked out with his mistress. They would bang on pipes or something, and he would come up. It was so I ground the show to a halt right there, John. So let's kick
wall. Boom,
let's crank this back up. So
back that up. Let's ground that wall. Let's go.
Josh here. No, I like actually. I like Gordon Lightfoot. He's got a wonderful voice. But Josh, welcome. I guess probably Lord Shill of the required shilling department is probably where we need you the most. The unnecessary sobriety. While I respect your lifestyle choices, and that, good on you, brother. But we'll take care of the drinking for the show. And but Lord Shill of the required shilling department, welcome, Josh. All right, so we're past the business portion, I think. Oh no, wait, we got more than that.
You only mentioned Greenleaf Terrain. You haven't mentioned Care Multicase or Games and Gears or discount games at all.
Oh my God, I think you just did. No,
I know what I'm doing.
We're not gonna bring Moros on to do. Oh, I'm here now. I might as well say something about. No, we're not gonna do that. We're not going to do that now. Discount Games Incorporated. They sell stuff on the internet. If you have a shitty game store in your local area, you should probably go to them.
Or if they're out of something.
Yeah, or they're out of something. Or if they won't get something for you. I've heard, John, that there are game stores out there, you place an order with them, you may not get it for weeks because of distribution issues. Do you know why they have...
Honestly,
yeah, go ahead, John.
Guild Ball is very hard to get, and Discount Games carries it. A lot of stores don't. Even the good stores don't necessarily have it.
Absolutely. And if you need some butchers or you need some fishermen, let's say, where are you going to get them? Jay. He's got those silly holiday bundles I almost rolled up on one of those, to be honest with you, because the engineers have me sad.
Oh,
I can't win with
you know,
those
the
guys.
Devil Squid did pretty good locally with the engineers.
Yeah, he's good. He's
Came in
like,
second in a tournament, so
yeah. Ooh, he almost got the 100 pounds, huh?
no, there were some shenanigans.
Oh, all right. Well, we won't talk about shenanigans.
Basically it wasn't big enough. It got to be a
Oh.
16-man tournament. It wasn't quite 16. You know,
Crap.
it happens.
Crap.
He wasn't upset.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so yeah, so they got the holiday bundles for the guild balls. They've got the holiday bundles for the Warmachines and Hordes, and so you know if you can't get what you want locally, and I do highly recommend locally, you know, Discount Games Incorporated, Greenleaf Terrain, got that stuff out into the display cases now, John. It's looking quite swank.
Yeah, their stuff's legit. I've seen his on Mini Wargaming. He's got good terrain. Makes some good terrain.
Does a beautiful thing. I've got some other terrain that I started working on over on the table, but it's from Dan Kotrup at the Tectonic Crafts, and
Yeah, Dan's a good dude.
and he gave me a little he gave me some of his laser burned wooden stuff, and I'm gonna tell you, for a flatter, it's not flat, it's flatter style terrain, stuff's legit, and I'll bring it on the show next week. The other thing that we've got Greenleaf Terrain for in case you need metric walls and things like that. We've talked about it. Games and Gears is got in touch with me this week. They're sending a little care package to the Painting with Men Off John show, so we'll see what that means. Anytime that Sam Sedgy asks for my address, I'm pretty sure it's a Games and Gears thing. It's not sending like a Hitman or something like that. Although, listening to some of my spots, you can never tell.
Any advertising is good advertising, right, Starbucks?
That's right. That's right. And KR Multicase, because, you know, Butterfoam. It's not Battle Foam, it's Butterfoam.
Butterfoam.
You get Battle Foam from the folks over there at Rabblefoam, but you get the Butterfoam from the fine people at KR Multicase. You know, this country was founded by British people. Did you know that?
I did.
And, you know, KR Multicase was founded by British people. So if you love America, buy KR Multicase. America.
That's a good connection.
America.
I follow you.
Come on. You know, I'm a little disappointed in the chat room tonight, John.
I know, they're all quiet. They must be watching the Patriots or something.
Jenny, come on.
Guys.
Come on, Jenny. we're relying on you. We got the best fans in the universe, and that means that you guys got to talk because we generate a lot of content out of that chat room. So
well, if they're not going to talk, we're going to have to talk, and that's crazy.
It's crazy talk. Speaking of talking, Pillars of Salt, they're going to be back with some more videos coming out, aren't they, John?
They are. We're going to do some more machines as soon as we get things sorted out, and also some Malifaux, since we're all looking at the Malifaux right now. Having some good fun with that.
I would love to see some Malifaux come out. I picked up some of that Malifaux one time, and it hurt my brain hard, and then I gave it away. And but I would love to see someone else play it. I bet you it'd be fun.
Yeah, it's good. I played a game Thursday. I got my butt whooped and still won. Because that's what happens when you have a game with good objectives.
There you go. Beer. By the way, speaking of other affiliated podcasts here at the Menoth John Warm Hordes Network, the Beer Machiners over there in crazy-ass Buffalo, New York, they're doing a beer PG. And so they're... Go ahead.
I'm waiting to hear about this because recording role-playing sessions sounds like a train wreck, but one I want to listen to.
So I listened to episode 0 where they were doing character creation. And in case you don't know, this is Rich and Adam and JP, and then their GM is going to be Dan Vanderkoy. And Dan is one of the funniest people I know. He is amazing, and he's a wonderful PG. I guess they actually a wonderful DM, I should say. From what I understand, people actually pay him to DM for them at like shows and stuff like that.
I hear that's actually a thing you can do. I don't know if you can quite make a living off it, but you got a lot of free time and good hours available. Here you can make some money doing that in certain areas.
Absolutely. So there you go. If I become a Patreon supporter, can you use your presidential powers to get Nappy to show up for Dresden Files RPG. Brian, I would love to say that I could, but you see, Dresden Files, that falls outside my presidential ability to influence. Now, had it been an IKRPG or an Unleashed type of a thing, well, yeah, shit, fucking Nappy's in. But I'll just twist some arms. I'll send out the hit squads. But no, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you. But I do encourage you to become a Patreon supporter, because in that way you could give me your money. All right, so then we have the last thing is 1218, which I understand there's a movie coming out later this week, John. Have you heard anything about that?
Hells yeah.
Little...
I've already had to call up doctor because I've had direction loss lasting longer than 3 hours.
Awesome. The other thing that's happening is this Friday, because Star Wars is awesome, we had to offset it. So I'm going to be playing Warmachine Tactics on the live stream with White Moon Ross, who most of you might know as Ross Thompson, probably one of the coolest people I know, just a wonderful fella, very big in the games industry, part of the Geek and Sundry network now, and
oh, cool.
And so he's doing he blogs for Geek and Sundry and also does live streaming for them, and then also he asked me to be on one of it'll be the first White Moon Dreams grudge match streams, and so I'm thinking that I am going to be I'm now been nominated to be president of Dresden Files also. So I'm right now I'm tentatively planning on playing Ron. Hey, Ron. But if I can't, this is my super secret Warmachine Tactics tech. So this is the list you guys want to run if you're playing Warmachine Tactics. So Harbinger with the Avatar, and a single steelhead rifleman, Eris, and the remainder of the list is Cinerators. And I'm going to tell you, it's legit. Cinerators have way more wounds than they should, and they hit way harder than they should. And Crusader's Call with those guys, and then a little guided hand action, and I'm telling you what, I was whooping that AI for Warmachine Tactics, which I've heard isn't really that hard, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's hard to make an AI good without making it blatantly cheat. In a game like this, you probably don't know if it was blatantly cheating.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, I had so look for that. I'm gonna stream it on my stream. We're gonna stream it over at White Moon Dreams. If you're not following the Twitch streams, get over there, follow them. You'll get the notifications, the push notifications. That uses some technology that we don't have yet in the Menoff John Warmahordes network yet. We don't really push anything other than terrible pre-rambles. That's about it.
That's true. Oh.
Okay, so I threatened to paint, and I am going to start painting right now, which means that we are going to start working on some questions, right, John?
Well, actually, I'm going to throw a curveball at you, John. I realized we need to zig.
Okay.
Did you see the preview pictures for the models that are coming out soon?
Oh, I did see some of those. Did you see
Rock?
Yes, I did see Rock. Why are they resculpting him?
Because the current one's
terrible.
Not great.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I don't say terrible. Okay, you can say terrible.
I say terrible.
I would say he's passable, and that's about the best you can say about him.
I don't like him.
He's got an axe. That's about all you can say.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Nah.
But hooray, I guess.
This one, holy moly. This one's legit. I'm just wondering how he doesn't have reach. I mean, I'm not even talking about the axe. That arm is like, he looked like he's standing on a 40, but he's actually on a 50. He's huge.
I was when I looked at that and I saw how they redid the axe. I was like, well, maybe we're gonna get a retooling of the rules too, because rock with reach equals happy-go-lucky times.
Yeah, he'd be really good with reach. And then how about Pyrrhus? Since you are nominally Menoff, John, the Menoff model.
Yeah, Pyrrhus looks really, really good. That's.
Yeah, he's
is he gonna be? Is he
legit.
Is he gonna be resin? or is that just a 3D model so that they can make a spin cast?
It's hard to tell. I haven't seen the release sheet for him yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's just a 3D model in resin. I don't think he's actually going to be resin. I mean, that'd be great if they went to resin more. Slightly problematic occasionally, but more often than not, it's going to be better detail and easier for us to work with than metal and restic.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, metal and restic are probably the two worst materials to make models out of.
God, and Restic, Jesus.
I mean, you can get by it, but it requires so much work.
Yeah, if it weren't for your brass brush method, I think that there'd be a lot of
steam scraper. Yeah, we think the brush heads for the steam scraper.
Yep, I think that there would be a lot of not happy people out there.
Yeah, no doubt. And then they had Linus and Lucy, or Edria, I guess her name is.
Yeah, those are interesting looking models.
And they're solid. I wouldn't say they're amazing. I mean, she looks really good. He looks decent. So they're pretty solid. I'm looking forward to them anyways. They have pretty cool rules. And then the Grotesque Assassin looks like something out of 40K or Fantasy, I'm telling you. He's definitely missed his calling there. He should be definitely a GW thing.
Do we have rules for that thing yet?
Yeah, he was in the last book.
I don't pay attention anymore.
It's Legion. Why should you pay? It's Legion Infantry. Why would you pay attention? He's pretty decent. It's not no great shakes, but pretty solid character.
Cool.
Pretty solid solo. So there's my Ziggin, new models. Take a look. That rock is legit. The rest not as good. I mean, even the Grotesque Assassin's pretty good, but between all of them, the rock and the Purist are probably the best too.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been hard for me to get kind of worked up. I mean, I'm playing so little these days that it's gotten. I'm looking at models pretty much. Well, how much fun is it going to be to paint? Because playing them doesn't happen so often for me anymore.
Right now, I'm with you. Actually, I just got a game in this week, which is the first game I played in a couple weeks. So,
well, I mean,
sometimes you just fall away from it a bit. Just keep faith.
Oh yeah.
Until you get another game in.
Well, it's not even about wanting to at this point. It's just that life has certainly changed for me from a personal standpoint with my youngest boy here 100% of the time, and he's gone through a lot of changes, so it's not been easy for him. So I'm just having to try and keep as close a tabs and keep working with him on his school and things like that. So, but we'll keep it on. I'm already looking at next fall. My son's middle school has a food drive, pretty epic food drive, and I'm thinking that at the very minimum, I'm going to have some type of a food type machine thing at my house.
Awesome.
Kind of a John Con meets food machine type of thing. So
that sounds super legit.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Always had a really good time. It'll be like with an entrance fee of canned goods. So, anyhow, I have no idea what I'm doing with this model. This is Moros, and I'm trying to base him off of some of the things I've done with some of my other Retribution models here. Like this is my Banshee, and he's got kind of an olive shoulder pad thing, but I just kind of went with a silver one on this one. I don't know. They don't have to be all the same. None of my Ret models are, my Jacks at least, are all that similar to each other.
That's cool. Gives them a little character.
Yeah, exactly. That's another reason why you can get away with it. My Disco has orange shoulder pads because I guess orange. Yeah. So he turned out cool. He says "suck it, Crix" in Retribution runes on his front.
All right, so let's get to the next thing. I'm going to start by throwing. I'll throw the question out first, then we'll hit the second one after that.
Sure.
Declan Lowry asked us, "Have we seen the new trailer for Independence Day 2?"
John, you want to go with this first, as you're a resident movie expert?
I did see it. I saw it because you mentioned it was out. I hadn't heard about it otherwise. Yeah, looks cool. Graphics are cool. I mean, but honestly, I expect that from any major motion picture nowadays. I mean, even the trailer for Battleship made it look like it could be good. Was it? I hold out a hope for it because honestly, Independence Days is one of those. If you analyze it, one of those movies that had no right really being good, but it's good anyways.
Yeah.
It hits that right combination of disaster movie and sci-fi and action and everything.
I think
And
I
I'm
think
holding out hope this will do the same thing.
I think when we talked about it, Independence Day, I think once upon a time on the show, we talked about it's a movie that kind of was at least aware enough that it knew what it was,
Hmm.
and so it was campy good times. And
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, what I saw in that trailer when I was watching it was a very similar feel I got from it. I think
yeah.
that go ahead, John.
They got Jeff Gold. They got most of the cast back. I mean, Will Smith. Will Smith is expensive nowadays, so
Yeah,
no surprise there. But Jeff Goldblum and Alan Alda, and then Bill Pullman looks pretty solid.
yeah. I mean, they got everybody that wasn't in jail. Randy Quaid. Wow,
Well,
that
he's
guy
dead.
went. What's that?
His character's dead, so he doesn't need to be back.
Oh, that's right. That's good. It's good that he's dead because boy, woo, that
Yeah.
guy. So I'm
Yeah.
looking
So,
forward to it.
it could be good, could be bad. I don't think it's going to be mediocre. I think it's going to hit one or the other. I don't think it's going to have a chance to be mediocre. It looks like it's either going to be really good and enjoyable, or it'll just skip that and go straight to, oh Jesus, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I think
In which
that
case, you guys will get a great rant from me.
which has become a new thing on the show. If we can pull it off, John's rants. But they have to be organic, man. They have to happen like naturally. So
Yeah.
we can't you can't force something that angry.
No, you can't force.
Oh
I
God,
wasn't even that angry, just annoyed.
oh my God, my
Uh,
dog farted again. Jesus.
Oh no.
Ugh. I took my dog
So
to
the next trailer that hit. Oh, what? Go ahead.
I took my dog to the vet this week to get her checked out, and they gave her some kind of probiotic stuff. That's just having a little party in her lower intestine. Let me tell you what. Woo, doggies.
I'm going
Anyway,
to get a respirator.
oh my God, I'll do the
I
rest.
own one. Not for that, for other things, but it's a bonus.
There you go. Excellent.
So the other trailer that hit was since you mentioned you watched X-Men: Days of Future Past this week, was X-Men Apocalypse.
So, John, that one when that first surfaced, and the pictures of Apocalypse started showing up on the internets, everybody lost their poop.
I have a news. I know. I heard.
And
And I never saw that movie, but I can see the similarities. Power Rangers hit a little late for us, I think.
yeah,
You were probably in college. I was in high school.
yep, I was not a big Power Ranger guy. That was not my jam.
No.
But I don't know. It's as I watched the trailer for it. I don't know. I just wish Fox would give Marvel the X-Men back.
Yeah, I got that same sort of feeling. I know people who are excited for it. I'm just not excited for it. Granted, I wasn't excited for Days of Future Past. I think X-Men needs to be more consistently good before I will legitimately get excited for one of their movies.
Yeah,
I mean, because you had X-Men 3: The Last Stand,
yeah.
followed by X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh,
Holy cow, that was a
And
bad
that-
movie.
yeah, that was. If it wasn't for Liv Schreiber, that movie would have been unwatchable. Liv Schreiber and Hugh Jackman, it made it watchable. That's all I can say for it. You can watch it without gouging your eyes out. And then I saw X-Men First Class late, right after it came out, and I'm like, okay, that was decent. That was kind of cool. It wasn't perfect, pretty solid. I'll rate it probably better than the first X-Men movie as a movie, if you take away the time frame when they came in. And then I saw X-Men: Days of Future Past. I'm like, oh, that was really cool. But I'm still not excited for Apocalypse. I'm sorry.
No, nor am I.
Especially because I'm an old school X-Men guy from back in the day, and they're just taking the X-Men, their whole backstory, and they're shitting on it.
Yeah,
It's not even like Marvel, where Marvel takes something and they're like, we're going to take elements and then just sort of change it a little bit to fit in our universe, and they're just so good at it. Like I watched Ant-Man again this week. Just did such a good job on that movie.
that movie's really fun.
Just fit right in. So, so there you go. There's our discount movie reviews on trailers.
Yeah. We don't charge extra for that, John.
No, not at all.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah. So back to more questions. Dowdark wants to know. He wants to do a non-studio Signar army paint scheme. He's looking for some ideas.
Um, you know, when it comes to Signar, I mean, Carol, how convenient. So my scheme, DJ Thunderhead in the house. My paint scheme was not completely standard, so it was the dark blue here with gray, and then a cream color for some of the side pits, as I hold my finger over everything so that you can't possibly see what it is I'm talking about. So I'm gonna try and get this in focus. Maybe if the focus was a little worse, we'll see here. See if I can get this to focus in a little bit better. There we go. All right, somewhere in here is the right focus. All right, so as you can see, I've got the dark and then the dark gray. That's one way to go. I mean, another way to go is I've seen some pretty nice reds. Almost you paint up the Signar as if it was a Khador army. That's another way to go.
I've seen some reds and blues where they do blue, and then instead of any of the other accent colors, they go just straight to red for it, just for a good eye popping.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple of different ways you can go with it, Dowdark. I mean, I liked this one just because I thought that the darker blue, this is an Exile blue from P3, with the gray I thought was a nice color combination. And it worked out pretty well on the models that I painted on my Signar before I realized that I didn't want to be a dirty swan.
Blue and gray is a solid paint scheme solid paint scheme choice.
You know, Dowdark, the other suggestion I would throw out to you is to take a look at the presentation we had with Chris Suri, where he did the color theory one, and he brought on the color wheel thing, and take a look at that and see if you can do some complementary colors, and that might be a good way to go as well. So,
or find something in fiction where you like the color scheme and just mimic it. I've seen a lot of stuff recently with Stormtrooper style color schemes.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I mean, even my Rulik stuff that's red and black with some metallic highlights and such is actually based off the old G.I. Joe Crimson Guard color scheme, because I was flipping through something and was inspired by it. I'm like, boom, go, just hit it up.
What a great idea! I mean, I saw those Stormtrooper Signars on Facebook, and I thought they were really, really well done. But I mean, man, white, oofda.
That's the way to get your skills to the next level. Paint a lot of it.
Yep, that's very true.
Ask Grape Bomb. I'm sure he knows.
And speaking of colors and color schemes and things like that, folks, don't forget, we do have another Brushhead gallery coming in right after the first of the year. We're going to be welcoming Shoshi Bauer back onto the show, and she will be we'll be looking at different pictures that you guys all send in, and you send them to PwMenothJohn at gmail.com. And then we'll put them all on there. And then we do a random drawing for some kind of swag or whatnot that we may have in the prize vaults. Our sponsors do take pretty good care of us in spite of doing really a lousy job advertising for them. And, we've got a few things in the prize vault that we can part with. And we'll give them to we do it randomly, though, because the idea of the Brushhead Gallery is not about, oh, my God, that's the greatest podcast, best paint job ever, because we do have some really talented folks that watch the show, but this show is all about participation and about trying. And so that's why we make it a random one. So everybody's got an equal shot, so make sure if you've got some cool stuff you've been working on, even if you're a newer painter, we love seeing the newer painter stuff, and Shoshi is just the best darn teacher. And she will give you some great tips on what you might want to consider doing next. So that's coming up right after the first of the year. We'll take a look probably in the first week or two after that. We'll make sure that we get the word out on Facebook. John, are you aware we have a Facebook page?
I am quite aware of it.
Yep.
I've been kind of slacking on the co-host video of the week.
It's okay. It's the holidays, man. How are you supposed to keep up with anything? But we have a Facebook page, and it's at just look up Painting with Menoth John on Facebook. And we actually had Zuckerberg actually set our page up personally. I'm not sure if you were aware of that, John. I called him up.
Not aware of that.
I called him up and I said, "Hey, I've got a great idea for a painting show. Would you set up a page for us?" And he went ahead and did that. And he was gonna steal the idea from me, but he didn't. He decided that he was gonna let me have that one. He already stolen Facebook. So there you go. So little known fact: Zuckerberg set up the Facebook page for Painting with Menoth John. Boom. Breaking the knowledge
There you
loose.
go. So next question from Dave Monroe.
Dave Monroe, he's
He
in
says,
Sweden.
Nothing. Pins. Why they're cool. Your favorites, least favorites. Ideas for new ones.
So the ironic and awesome part about this particular post is because that about a year and a half ago I bought a pin of Chibi Kaya and Laris for Dave. I sent it to him yesterday. Because I'm good. Because I'm fucking good.
Well, you've already killed one of his parts. You've already named the best pin.
That is a pretty darn good pin. I also, in the same shipment, not in the same envelope because they're going to different places, I sent Benj Hansen a Chibi Kalissa, which is an amazing pin, by the way. So,
as far as best, I'm going 1, 2, and 3. I'm going Chibi Kaya and Laris, Chibi Roshan Brine, and Chibi Hawkins Shay.
Mine are going to be Zombie Gunbjorn,
okay,
which I'm a big fan of, Chibi Borka, and Chibi Kalissa.
Fair enough.
So, ideas
least favorites,
for
got it.
Go, yeah,
I
least
don't give
favorite.
that enough time.
Yeah,
I don't even think of least favorites. It's like, whatever.
For my taste, I like the chibi ones. I'm not a huge fan of the other ones. That's just a personal thing, though. That doesn't mean that they're bad. Uh-oh.
So Chili Winters is watching us, and he put a picture on Twitter of his cat watching us also.
Nice. That's amazing. Thanks, Chili. All the pussy loves Menoth John.
Sully was going to try and stay away from that particular joke.
Nope, not me. Steered right into it.
Oh, I think I did my one before with the Star Wars joke.
Chibi. I didn't know there was a Chibi rock.
Yeah, me either. I only look at a handful. I mean, I'm not big into the pins. I mean, it's cool they're doing it. It's kind of the thing. Disney's been doing it for a couple years. I have a coworker who's really into Disney pins and all. And it's a cool thing, especially with the way they get you interactive with the Privateer Press staff at cons when you've got those trading pins.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never really anything I'm going to get crazy into. I spent a couple for my bag, and then that's it.
So, yeah, I mean, for the people who are into it, it's awesome. And that's the nice thing about this hobby is there's lots of different aspects to it. So I don't know if anybody's been, necessarily paying a whole lot of attention to my painting, but I think the highest tech thing that I've been doing so far is I'm using a brush and a model with paint. And that's a big thing for me. So I'm using a wet palette. We've talked about wet palettes on the show before. If you don't use a wet palette, you should use a wet palette because it's better than not using a wet palette. And, John, on a retribution model, I'm getting to a very critical juncture right now. This is a very critical thing is, do you or do you not paint the little bullshit like pit parts here that make up the arms that are not elbows? What do you want to do with those? Do you paint them silver or do you want to not paint them silver? In most cases, I have opted with painting them silver.
The pit parts, the recessed parts usually go darker. Like if you're doing silver, I would go with the actual gunmetal to make them look more mechanically bits that get worked on a bit, so they don't use the same metal necessarily as you do on the shoulder pads.
They're gonna get washed.
Overthinking it.
They're no, that's not overthinking it. That's some good tech right there. They are gonna get washed, and they're probably gonna get washed reasonably aggressively. So because that's how I kind of go about getting my oiliness and dirtiness out of it. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm just I'm just, right now I'm just having, I'm having a bit of a Bob Ross moment right now. I'm just kind of thinking about,
Mhm.
I'm just putting a little happy little tree right over here on this elbow, right now. Boom.
Uh, so next is from John Snodgrass.
Speaking of happy little trees,
Yeah, and he says, strip and start again, or just buy a new model and sell the other one on eBay. That's the age-old question,
boy,
John.
that's a son of
Holy
a gun.
moly.
That's a son of a gun. That is,
Um,
well, go ahead, John. You go first.
if you decide to buy and get a new one, which I actually suggest if you really want a well-painted model, because stripping it never makes it the same again, don't sell the painted one until you get the new one painted. Trust me, did that in the past or something, slightly regretted. Actually, now I don't regret it at all, but for a while I slightly regretted it, and wish I would have kept the painted stuff until I got the new stuff painted.
So my answer is going to be based upon some experience I've had with privateer press models in general. If it's metal, strip it. You can do a good job of stripping the metal on with privateer metals, or probably any metals for that matter. I don't think they've got a special formula pewter or anything like that. If it's rustic, give up. Just go buy a new one. It's not worth it. What you're going to have to go through to get that crap off of that rustic is not even remotely worth the effort or the sweat and blood and hatred that's going to come out of your system. Uh, I don't have any experience I have no experience at all with stripping the resins. John, have you ever tried to strip a resin model?
I have stripped resin models before. It actually works the best, um, just because generally the resins are a bit more oily and paint us a hard time adhering to them to begin with. So usually have a decent good with that, but yeah, same thing. I mean, I count that as metal. Like if you want to, you can, but it's still not quite going to be the same as getting a fresh model.
So
It sort of depends on how good you want the model to be.
I strip in concentrated simple green. What's your stripper of choice? I mean, for stripping a
Buy
model.
a new model.
Buy a new model.
Well,
Got
remember, most of it's been GW, and working at GW, you get a stupid staff discount, so you just buy a new model.
yeah.
New stuff, I haven't painted anything I haven't been at least decently appreciative of. If I were to, I would probably buy a new model and sell the other one on eBay or sell it to someone local or something.
Yeah. I think that right now the fact of the matter is that it's the tipping point may come. How many models do you have to strip? If it's a single model, just buy a new one. If you're talking about you've got an army off of Bartertown that's kind of a hot mess, and you want to do something about it, then I mean, then you go ahead and do that.
So, Down Arc, having
Yes.
the relevant
Yes, Brother
comment
Scott,
says that,
thank you.
simple green for plastics, purple stuff for metals. And Tadgo says icy purple alcohol.
And Brother Scott
And,
says
Brother
cinnamon.
Scott's something. I'll leave that one there. Cinnamon.
That's great. That's
Uh,
that's perfect, Scott. Thank you.
I do own simple green for in case I do need to strip something. I've got some stuff that's just primed, but it's a little heavy, so I want to try and loosen it up, get some stuff off. I'll hit that with simple green, and then I'll get out the old trusty brass brush, one of my old used ones, and get some more stuff up with that.
Hey, I got a brass brush question for you, sir.
Sure.
So brass brush, where did you get yours? You got yours on Amazon, right?
Yep, Amazon.
Okay. I was going to ask you if you had gotten over to Harbor Freight. I'm looking for a brass brush that maybe only has one row on it.
You should have a Harbor Freight or El Marshall said if you go to car shows, they do stuff like that because they use brass brushes for a lot of stuff like stripping paint and all. So you might be able to find it there too. So
Okay.
maybe look at an auto store if it's an expansive one.
On Amazon, they had as a part of a gun cleaning kit, they had a brass brush that had a single row. And the reason I'm looking at that is that on that Glacier King, when I get the cracks filled with green stuff, I'd like to come back over it with a brass brush and just kind of smooth it out a little bit.
Green stuff, you actually for smoothing, you really want to use you actually want to get sandpaper. like a sandpaper or a sandpaper stick, one of those sanding sticks, or even like an emery
Okay.
board or something like that. Get something like that in the right size instead, because the brass brush isn't going to smooth it out. It's gonna actually probably give it the business, so to speak.
Is it gonna leave? It's gonna leave like track marks and stuff like that. It's gonna look like a two-bit
Yeah,
a two-bit whore on a crack night.
basically, yeah. Because
Yeah.
even on like regular plastics, I'm using it on the Malifaux stuff. It'll actually, you can see where it's working. It makes it less shiny as it's starting to scuff it a lot on the plastic. So it's going to do worse to the green stuff that's even softer.
Okay.
So I would definitely go with the emery board,
Okay.
Or even just sandpaper, something small, sandable.
I'll have to go to my local hardware type dealership and see if I can find a sanding board of some variety. That I need something that can get into a tight spot that I can get in there with, because that Glacier King's got more frickin' little nooks and crannies than your average English muffin.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see.
All right. Well,
We managed to reference crack whores and English muffins in the same topic. That's awesome.
absolutely.
Boom.
Kev Brandon's got an easy one.
Love that guy.
Easy one.
Love that guy.
How do you do your bases to keep your sand, flock, or cork, etc., staying where you put it?
Well, I do really simple, stupid bases, Kevin. To be honest with you, my what I do, I don't do anything fancy, and I'm a terrible, terrible miniatures guy. So just keep that in mind. What I do is I put down Elmer's glue into the base, and then I use Citadel sand, and I dip it in the Citadel sand and let it sit there for about 30, 40, well, maybe a minute or two, just to kind of
Mhm.
build up a little bit. Then I'll pull it straight up so it leaves a little mound on it. And then I put it to the side for about another maybe 5 or 10 minutes just to let it set up a little bit. And then I take the top of the model, and I'll demonstrate my method here. And I'll just give it the business a little bit and just give it a little shake. And then I have this Estee Lauder makeup brush that I found at my mom and dad's house that was left over. And what I'll do is I'll go around the base with the makeup brush, because it's real soft and it just cleans up the edge on the base really, really nice. Then what I'll do is just I let it sit for like overnight and let it really, really dry. And then, then you can do just about anything to it, and it's not going anywhere. You can, if you're using sand, you can put a little wash on it to darken it up a little bit. Maybe you want to dry brush it a little bit to brush it back up. Maybe you're happy with just the sand color. I mean, if you look at the base on this fella here, I mean, I'm a terrible baser, but this is, this is just that Citadel sand with a little bit of the flock on it, with like a leaf litter flock on it. Just because all my elves, because they're a dying race, they have autumn colors going on, and so they're like in the autumn of their race, kind of a thing is what I was trying to sell. So that's all there is to it. And they don't, from a long ways away, they look pretty good. But you bring people like Chris Surrey and Shoshi and folks like that. Those folks do amazing bases. They do the displays with the cork and all that stuff. And I've never gotten into the cork thing, although I bet it looks beautiful. John, do you have any tips?
Sure. If I put anything on it that's heavier than just sand, I super glue that to the base first and let that dry, maybe overnight if I can. It's like rocks and all. I do a lot of rocks on my bases just to break it up. And then I use a similar method. I just like to water down the PVA glue, or Elmer's glue, if you will, to about melted ice cream. I put it over the base, put the sand on it, shake it off, tap it off, clean it off. I use a brush also, not quite a makeup brush, but I use just an old brush I can't paint with anymore. And then I'll let it sit overnight like you do. But then I'll go back afterwards with an even finer, even more watered down thing of PVA glue. It's about milk consistency, just slightly above water. And I'll go over the whole thing to keep it down again.
Yeah, that's
And
not going
I do that before
anywhere.
I even paint the model, because then the paint keeps it down even better.
Yeah, I don't lose a lot of my base off of it. I mean, I don't have like tons of sand and stuff. Lazy Hobo was asking the question, "What's the name of the model?" This is Moros, and this is the newest character model for Retribution. I really love the model. I think it is just dead sexy. It's got some fun rules, but I mean, I love the look of the model. It is so
I like your
pretty.
pose better than mine. My pose didn't come out quite as cool.
Well, thank you. I had a lot of angst about this pose. I'll be very honest with you. When you look at him from the front, he's got kind of both the knives are kind of angled funny, but you could imagine him holding them like that, I guess. So
Yeah, mine's got a little like they're down by his side and one's angled a little weird. So
privateer light myrmidons are hard because there are a lot of parts and they're a lot of simultaneous adhesion things, and so
hmm
even with with a green stuff glue method like I'm want to use, it gets tricky.
even when you pin it like I do, it gets a little tricky because you still need a decent connection, or all it's going to do is that pin's going to come out again and again, or
Yeah.
just be a pain in the ass to get in there.
Yep. And I still need to get me some corks and things like that and the blue tack and to really do a good job of holding it while I'm doing this. But I've gotten so used to holding my models the way I do that it's hard for me to break the habit.
There is nothing that can replace just good old fashioned patience. If you have patience, you're set.
I do a lot of
If you
jacking
don't have
around.
patience, then you need that other stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of jacking around with my, I like put my elbow in over here and then rest my finger and all that kind of stuff because there's 100,000 different ways to hold a model when you're painting a miniature. I'm
Oh
kind of
yeah,
I'm kind of okay with how this is turning out. I think I may have gone. I think the silver shoulder pads may have been a dubious design decision, but we'll see. I can always repaint them.
yeah.
I can
Yeah, you
always
can never
repaint
tell till they're washed, anyways.
them. That's the truth right there, boy.
So I got one from the chat room.
Yeah.
Taz 2021 goes, did you guys see the finale episode of Doctor Who?
Boy, I have not.
Taz.
I am way behind on my Doctor Who this season. I know that everybody has been raving about the latter half of Peter Capaldi's run this season, but I have just not seen hardly any of it.
I'm still halfway through Matt Smith's last season. Um, don't forget to watch it with my wife anymore, so not as much impetus to watch it. So, plus my cable doesn't have the channel anymore.
Yeah. I think Doctor Who's. I mean, I'm a little bit of a slave to Netflix, in that I have to wait for Netflix to have it. I don't think
Sure.
Hulu has it, so I'd have to look.
Yeah, I haven't seen it on Hulu. I haven't seen it on Amazon Prime. So yeah, I'll catch up eventually. It's one of those things where I get some time. Been watching Agents of Shield, pretty good.
Yeah, I'm still not caught up off of season 2 yet.
It's okay. So mid-season finale just happened, and I watch it with occasional Brushhead Creekins, but she's in Germany for 37 days. So I told her I would hold it so that she doesn't have a problem coming back when she gets back and watching it with me.
Nice, that's awesome.
So, but yeah, so I've seen the episode before the mid-season finale, but not the mid-season finale.
Cool. I'm continuing to thoroughly enjoy that show. Really enjoying the living daylights out of it. Actually, what I end up watching more often than not is YouTube's. So I watch a lot of Good Mythical Morning. I watch a lot of Gaming with the Cooler. I watch, Guerrilla Miniatures. I don't watch quite as much miniature wargaming as I used to, just because I don't play 40K, and they have abandoned pretty much everything that is not 40K. They have a little X-wing, but
Yeah. What happens? I think there are guys who are big into Infinity left, and that happens sometimes. But I do a lot of YouTubes, but I watch a lot of random stuff like Cinema Sins. They're pretty hilarious sometimes. Lots of random videos. I will occasionally just get some time and go down the YouTube rabbit hole, clicking a video, clicking a video, clicking a video until I like nothing here looks cool, and then go back and see what my subscriptions have. I mean, it's really a great time for entertainment. I can kill a whole day on YouTube if I had to.
the honest trailers have been just entertaining the living daylights out of me and Belinda and the boys. So
Honest shows are so much more amusing. They're like I enjoy the occasional, everything wrong with X movie in Y minutes, but the honest trailers are really where it's at.
yeah, they do such a good job. Although my 9-year-old now knows the word pork, although I don't know that he knows what that means.
Ah,
I think he means they're talking about food.
yep, food. That's it. Exactly. Good job.
So
Let's move on quickly.
yeah, exactly. So there you go.
All right.
John,
We still have more
John,
questions.
John, I'm enjoying tonight's episode very much.
Yeah,
I'm having a
we gotta
nice
get it
episode.
occasionally.
Yeah, this is great. I appreciate everybody who's sending in questions because this makes it nice to have a nice little talk. This is good.
They're having a good little talk about Doctor Who in there.
Well, we got Chili.
Miles Healy did ask about Jessica Jones. I unfortunately still do not have Netflix, though. When I get some time, I will beg, borrow, steal, or use the 1 month free subscription to watch both Daredevil and Jessica Jones. But it's a little ways away, and I'm going to imagine you haven't watched yet because it'd be a little dark for you and your kid.
Nope, I'm I was on here talking about the fact that I didn't watch Daredevil just because it was it was brutal even for me, and so I'm just gonna put here. That's good television right there. I'm gonna put the bottle of apple cider in front of the camera rather than having my model there.
Oh yeah.
So I Jessica Jones, while I'm sure it's different, is still Daredevil universe, and not sure that I'm interested.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, I like that they're using a different format to get their darker rather than making it the movies in a whole. Because if there's one thing I don't like about sort of how DCs have gone, is how dark they're going. But
Yep.
that's another discussion.
No, to each their own. I mean, entertainment is what you make out of it. As long as you enjoy what you're being entertained by, I don't have a problem with it. It doesn't hurt anybody, then God bless it. Whatever.
Absolutely.
All right, that's a dead apple cider. Now let's try another one. By the way, I'm going to use my Crony Inner Circle bottle opener. I'm just going to put that right out in front here. For those of you who aren't aware, you could get one of these if you wanted to. If you sponsor the Painting with Men Off John show at patreon.com/menoffjohn at the $5 an episode level, there. It opens up cider. It opens up beer. Opens up soda pop. It opens up anything that has one of these things. This is a crown cap, I guess, is what they might call it. I don't know what they really call it, bottle cap. And it opens them quite well. Plus, added feature, John, did you know that that our bottle openers are also self-defense tools?
Oh, are they?
Yes. This is what, as I've learned, is known as a knuckle buster. The idea of this is that bartenders could have these, and they have enough heft and weight with this little thing on the back here, this ring, that you could swing it around, and if you had to, you could bust somebody's knuckles with it. So it's not only a way of keeping the lights on here at Painting with Men Off John, but it's also a bottle opener and a self-defense tool.
Fair enough.
Boom.
All right. We get a couple more real questions, and we get into the random, as we always do.
Trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with this model next is kind of where I'm at right now. So continue on, please.
Let's see. Dowd Ark, or Kevin Bashford, as his note on the Facebooks.
That guy.
He said, Guild Ball's getting a lot of steam lately. Is this a product of targeted Warmachine Hordes player recruitment to drive community interest, or a latent desire for competitive Blood Bowl among players? Ooh.
I think that
yes.
I think that yes is probably the right answer. The fact of the matter is that I think that Guild Ball really came in at the right time. I think that they found themselves an audience at right when there was a little bit of a seed of discontent within the Warmachine community, and they came out with a game that had solid rules, awesome models, and they had people who have a name within the Warmachine community come out and be able to speak to it. So you had Jamie P in there doing his play testing, and that gave it an air of credibility within the Warmachine community. And it was so different from Warmachine in that it could provide a nice palate cleanser for people who might be getting a little bit tired of Warmachine and Hordes. At the same time, it's familiar enough that Warmachine and Hordes players can feel good about jumping into it and learning it very quickly. So I think that it's in a really good place to make an impact. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it seems like right place, right time. Like you said, I mean, it's got similar enough mechanics in some ways that it will get those people in. But honestly, a lot of it is that there's so many Blood Bowl players out there who feel like even though community is still fairly active for a game that's quote unquote dead. That it's another game that fills that niche, has the same basic idea to it, and there's a lot of people who just like to play things that are supported. They like new content.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, I mean, for those of you playing along at home, watching what I'm doing here this is Doomy 3, and I did a really shitty job priming him. So, I am what I'm doing here is I'm coming back underneath, and I had done Zenithal highlighting on him, which is another question we're going to get to, but we may not cover it in a lot of detail. And what I'm doing is I'm coming back into the spots where it should have been dark black, and I'm kind of covering it back in with a watered down Abaddon black, just to kind of do what the primer should have done if I had done a decent job of priming.
I've done that quite a bit. All right, so let's see. Next, I'll skip to Scott Kidwell, who asks, how does one buck up and get the motivation to finish painting long gunners? Currently the bane of his painting double.
Oh, God. So, we've talked about this on the show maybe a couple of times. John, I'd love to hear your perspective on this. For me, what I do is I try to break it. I'll take it in 3 model clumps and intersperse it with something else that isn't going to cause me to lose my soul. And when I did my Fire Frogs, that was the first 10 man unit or 10 frog unit, if you will, that didn't make me question my choices in life, just because it was a super fun. The frogs were all very flavorful and stuff like that. But long gunners, those guys are old school, and they are not awesome sculpts. And so it's finding the motivation is going to be much, much more challenging. So I say break the unit into 3 model kind of clumps, so that you can look at them and go, after 2 of them, you can say, oh, I got a minimum unit. And then you can kind of, drive your way through there and intersperse some other models in along the way.
Well, yeah, that's the standard paint reward thing, is you get a model you really want to paint, and you go, I can't paint him until I'm done with that.
Yep.
And breaking into 3 models is good, but with models that old, I actually feel like a good idea would be to break them into their 3 groups. Like, okay, this is all the same pose, this is all the same pose,
Oh, sure.
This is all the same pose, and then this is like the other models that don't fit the other poses. Do the other models first, so you can get down your paint scheme, boom, 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 and then just go through all of them, but only do the basic colors.
Yep.
Then you come back later after you've painted anything else you really want to paint, and then you do the washes and the touch-ups and all that. And then you feel like you can completion, but you're not stuck in a rut. That's what I'm doing with my NIS Hunters. So they're still in the just base colors. Eventually I will do the washes and touch-ups and then get them done.
NIS Hunters are soul-crushingly hard to get through.
Yeah, but I feel like they're doable now that they're all base colors. To do some touch-ups and then do some washes. I feel like next time I sit down to paint them, they'll be thumbs up. I just got a lot of stuff on my table, so to speak.
Yep. Well, there. I mean, that's the worst part of Doomy 3, repainted so that it's not a disaster. I mean, it was really bad. I looked at it and went, wow, really? I primed that? Or actually, maybe I didn't. So the lightest part of your model should not be in the furthest recesses. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. It's priming stuff, and you really got to practice a lot to get to your spot. But like literally, if you get a basic coat, and then you go back and touch up with some black afterwards, that thumbs up too.
Yeah, the problem I have is ever since I started, I've got a spray booth down here in my basement now, and ever since I started using the spray booth on a regular basis, I have a turntable in it, and so the incentive is not as high to reach for the blue glove of love and hold the model. I need to get back into that habit of getting the blue glove on and holding the model while I prime it.
Yeah, buy some latex gloves, prime them, just hold them in that glove. Don't care if you get the glove all primery, who cares?
Yep.
Other people who do that with their fingers, don't do that. Get the latex glove, but just prime it from every angle.
A box of
short controlled bursts, go it.
A box of nitrile gloves at Walgreens or CVS is it's not that much money. It's a little bit of money, but it'll last you forever. It's probably like the last box of gloves you'll ever own. Unless, you got some There's a little bit of action going on the side. You never know. But, we don't what you do in your own time is your own business. We don't judge here on the Painting with Matt John show.
So, the last real question that doesn't involve something kind of beyond our painting skills is another one from Down Arc. He says, "Do you think there are many more popular fantasy tabletop games than sci-fi games, and why?"
More sci-fi than fantasy.
More fantasy than sci-fi games.
Huh. I don't know. What do you call Warmachine?
Warmachine's definitely fantasy.
Okay. I don't know. I think sci-fi's got such a genre-defining game already there that it's hard to break in and be different but still draw people in when when the 10,000-pound gorilla 40K is sitting there. I think 40K is doing a fine job of driving other companies towards their market.
Yeah. I actually feel like the games are more even than people think, because you got to count, Fires from Armada, Drop Fleet, Drop Zone Commander.
Yep.
And then Fires from Armada and their tabletop game they're coming out with, their regular Infinity. I mean, really, it's a lot more even than people think. It might even, if you look at all the games rather than just these super popular ones, it might be skewed a little bit towards sci-fi now with Gates of Antares, and then also the Icarus Project just hit their Kickstarter for their game. There's a ton out there, and I think the real problem is that fantasy lends itself a little more to skirmish base in our minds right now than sci-fi does. Because sci-fi, everything we love, most of we love, is all in our minds epic scale. Well, fantasy, you can get those handful of guys. You get sort of D&D feel. You can get the sort of medium scale.
Yeah, I mean, once you go to sci-fi, to a certain extent, you're starting to take part of the game away, because everything as war has progressed over time, range has increased, and melee becomes less critical. I think that's a fair thing to say in the history of war.
So 40K had to get around that by making their background that they've lost in the technology in the Dark Age, so that it's not all just hyper long range weapons that kill the enemy before they can even see you. It's a very cunning design decision, so that chain swords and all that stuff, melee became an option.
Yep.
You get Infinity, they play it on a denser terrain board, and the models that are good in melee, holy crap, are they good! Like in most games, it's like, oh, this close combat specialist charged me, I got a chip in a chair. In Infinity, if a close combat specialist gets into you, you do not have a chip in a chair. You have the snowball's chance in hell. I mean, I've had one of those where I'm like, I rolled good, didn't matter, he just crushed me.
Wasn't Scarface kind of a close combat kind of guy?
Here's the funny thing: Scarface could go close combat, but really he just gets close and just fires at people with two giant assault rifles at close range, which works.
Gotcha.
It's funny. Most of the big things like the tags don't want to get in melee as much as they want to shoot. There are some close combat specialists who are just like, there are familiar bases who will just be like, oh, Scarface, that's cute, I'm gonna chop him in half, and they will.
There you go. So I mean,
that's
I think
sort of like a good design game. So
yep, and I think I think Infinity is probably the example of the best sci-fi game out there right now. I mean, I think Once Upon a Time 40K was probably the best sci-fi game out there, despite Games Workshop trying to screw that up.
Well, Games Workshop lost something when they decided that they were a model company that just happened to make rules also.
Yeah.
And that's fair. They have stated that that's what they do. Hats off, state your intention, we know what you're up to. And there are people who enjoy 40K, and I don't begrudge them that. Is it a great game? Not so much. Is it fun? Yeah, probably.
I'll say this much for 40K, that as I sit and watch, because I I don't get to play very much of anything anymore. The battle reports where they take on a cinematic edge are super fun to watch, and I think that that game does lend itself to creating a cinematic battle report. I would love to see the Warmachine community, Kevin Bashford, looking at you, come out with more cinematic rather than doing um, straight steamroller type battle reports. Take a cinematic edge to it.
And I find that, especially our podcast is for hardcore casual, I find that in my local area and other places, it's becoming all about competitive, not about fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
It's they started a thing locally where they're doing store wars, where the stores all get their teams together and they play team tournaments to see who's the best store. Thumbs up, but I mean, do we need another competitive event? We already have what we call Baltimore, which is single person tournaments that are like and then at the end of the year they're all going to play the highest people, and then whoever's the best is going to win. Thumbs up. Do we need another competitive tournament just because it's based on who's good at the sport rather than who's good in general?
Yeah.
Man, not so much. We need some more fun stuff. We need more leagues. And that's on us as players. I mean, little mini rant here. We have to do the things to make it go in the direction we think it needs to. If you think there's too much competitive, not enough other, you need to go and get something not competitive going. Get a league. Get something else going. Make some cool scenarios. Grab some of the hardcore casual scenarios and just have some fun games. We need to do that more.
Fact. This message brought to you by Painting with Menoth, John, and mostly John Spencer. So
and honestly, that's one of the things 40K has always been good at. People still remember me and a friend, William Schuler, who lives in Texas, grabbed an old white dwarf, and they played a battle based off the movie Zulu.
Oh, shut up.
And yeah, they did. And I still have that white dwarf. It's the only one I kept. And we played like 8 hours of game based on that, where they had these basic rules. So we used what we had. And Imperial Guardsmen defending the little farm settlement with the orcs coming in from all directions. It was one of the most fun times I had playing a game. Cool narrative rules and some cool things. Orc buggy trying out, getting the guy in the tower with the big shoot on the back. There's some cool stuff happen there,
and that's
I feel like we need to get more towards that.
I agree, and I think that's one of the things that mini wargaming does really, really well is let's say the rules don't necessarily 100% support exactly what they want to do. By gosh, they figure out reasonable compromises within the rules to make it happen, and the game, the models of Warmachine and Hordes are as beautiful and as epic as any other game's models, and I know that we can, as a community, come up with content that supports awesome like that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what we need. I was talking to El Marshall about the Senior Pro Tour a little about that. That's what we need for Senior Pro Tour, not these standard steamroller scenarios. We need cool scenarios. Do they have to be fair? They should be reasonably fair, but they don't have to be 100% fair. Just fun. That's what it's about.
Or maybe we can have
fun.
Maybe we can have the fun stuff, but have some type of a continuing thing going on, and have the different individual games kind of have an outcome towards the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a seed of thought there, John. That may get me to do the Senior Pro Tour one more year at Warmachine weekend.
Oh, we'll do at least one more year. We get it going. I mean, as soon as it gets a little closer, me and some boys are going to talk about some ideas for cool scenarios. Just stuff that's fun.
Well,
fun and thematic.
The thing is that the question for me is, am I going to make it to Warmachine weekend again? Just because
hopefully
it's all a lot of it has to do with my life, and it's been weird and different. So
that's fair. But we'll see. If not, maybe someone else will raise the banner.
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You can't do it all on your own. Someone else has got to raise the banner.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
There's plenty of guys out there who understand what we're talking about. And I think as a community, we need to push for more of that. Steamroller's cool and awesome. It's one of the best competitive systems for playing a game. Like if you look at stuff like Malifaux and Infinity, which have out-of-the-box systems that are good for tournaments, it's because Steamroller laid the groundwork for that.
Yeah, buddy.
That's why it works.
Hats off to you, Hacksaw.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk movies, man.
Movies, sure. Hold on 1 second. I need to go get another drink.
Yeah, go ahead and get drinks. So, made good progress so far here on Moros. This has been a really fun episode. This has been really good for me, for my soul. Kind of getting back to the roots of painting with Menoth John. Getting back to the painting, doing that kind of stuff. I hope that those of you who were there in the chat room have enjoyed this as well. And we're going to do more of this kind of stuff. Maybe a little more. We're going to keep on focusing on the hardcore casual. Keep on focusing in on the hobby aspect. And if you want a bunch of tech and nonsense like that, there's plenty of podcasts for you on that. But we're going to continue to be here for your hardcore casual needs and for your hobby aspect. We're still going to do
Absolutely.
We're still going to do the drunk dojos every now and again, but maybe we got a little bit away from our roots, John. And I think that we're best when we're doing a show like we are tonight.
Absolutely. And a bunch of other silly questions. I appreciate you guys posting something. We got some good questions. I appreciate the silly ones.
Can we put them in the hopper?
I guess I could. Let's see here. Boom. They're silly. I mean, I'll throw them real quick. Cliff Hughes, this was a flippity-loop question. What would the question be? I don't know. That's your job, man.
If it was a flippity-bloop question, the question would be, why aren't you asking a flippity-bloop question?
Boom. Brett Painter, I got nothing, man.
Well, there you go.
Thanks. Declan Lowry wanted me to give a rant about a film, but I actually like the film we're doing this week.
Yep.
I don't know if I can rant. Though there's a chance, if things go off the rails a little bit, I could rant. There's a subject on this film I could rant about.
Aha.
Tony Crawford says we could always talk about the awesome that is Tony. I don't mind. Tony, I don't have the words.
No, Tony Crawford is amazing. Tony Crawford is one of the 6 most powerful substances in the universe, and he's like an infinity stone trapped in a small white man's body. Boom.
Fair enough.
Boom.
So, and then next one.
He puts the advance in advanced maneuvers.
Fair enough. Miles Healy said, as long as there's some trouble with paint and talking, I'm happy.
Whoops.
He said next movie club should be Adventures of Johnny Toe. That's TOA.
Toa?
I'm looking it up right now, but
so I can tell you what it won't be. It will not be Turkish Star Trek. I watched that the other day.
My condolences.
That's a comedy. It tries to be a comedy.
Was it actually funny, or was it funny?
Oh, it was hard to watch. I think a lot gets lost trying to subtitle comedy, and basically it revolves around a hapless Turkish tourist, who ends up in a Star Trek show.
Oh yeah, that doesn't see. Honestly, comedy is so hard to do if you're not understanding the culture. There's a lot of culture in comedy, to be honest. That's why a lot of those Chinese and Japanese comedies we see, we don't get.
Yeah, it's.
So.
I don't think that it'll ever be part of the show. Not like Turkish Star Wars.
Oh, yeah! Thank God.
That show. So good.
Turkish Star Wars.
So good. All right.
Another request for the next movie club of Critters. Remember Critters? I watched that movie like 1,000,000 times when I was young.
There you go.
I'm not sure I want to watch it again, but we'll see. I put it on the list, sir.
So,
and then the last question we got was, I want to at least give it lip service, is from Kyle McCollum. He says, I'd like to hear about a little primer on how to use acrylic flow release plus paint plus zenithal pre-shading.
Yep.
And we'll get someone with actual legit painting skills to help you on that, because that's a little above us.
So what we're going to do is, not Zosha, different. Shoshi is going to be, we'll have Zosha on again too, just not with that other guy. And we'll ask Shoshi to do a little bit of a zenithal priming type of a thing where we talk about that and try to give some tips on it, because everything I've heard about it is it's a very powerful technique. And I'll be honest
Mhm.
with you, I've used it on a number of models, and I know I'm not getting the most out of it. And I think I'm just missing the boat on maybe how I'm using my paints in relation to it. So we'll see. But I'm liking how Moros is turning out here with my little tans and greens and things on him. It's coming along.
Sweet.
All right,
Tan and
so
green. That's what my Infinity Army is gonna look like.
we have, John, a movie to talk about this week. It is
We do.
the last installment of our countdown to The Force Awakens. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to talk about the Force, not the Return of the Jedi.
That's right. The Phantom is menaced. The clones have attacked. The Sith have revenged. There was a new hope, and the Empire struck back. Now, the Jedi has returned, so that the Force can awaken.
Oh, wow. I see what you did there. Did you plan that, or was that just fall right out of your pie hole like that?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Planned a little
That's fine. That's fine. So, John, this was the third movie in the original trilogy, and this is I really enjoy this movie. I have to be honest with you.
It's definitely maybe the easiest to watch of the movies. There are points in Star Wars where if you're not in the right mood, it can get a little slow. I mean, I rarely find that. And Empire Strikes Back is a little bit of a downer at times.
Oh yeah.
Hard to watch your favorite characters get their butts whooped through the entire movie. But this one, honestly, Star Wars, it'd be a great standard 3-act movie, and it's a great ending. Though I do have some trouble with a couple of the changes Lucas made.
Well, anytime that jackass touched that film, it just bad things happened. Although I will say, in Empire Strikes Back, some of the things he did were the least noticeable and didn't hurt the movie that bad.
Absolutely. Like, Empire Strikes Back is the one where everything he did more or less was just awesome. You know, there were no negatives to him really.
Yep.
This one, let's get it out of the way. Fucking musical number, for Christ's sakes, really?
Yep. Yup. No.
We needed that?
Get on.
No, we did not. No, I'm talking about the one in Jabba's palace.
Oh, that one. Oh God. Oh God.
Oh, that unnecessary. Double unnecessary with the one at the end, which, if you count the original or even the original one, I don't hate. I actually kind of enjoy it to a point. But we'll get to that in a little bit. I want to get to the end to start. This is more towards the beginning. Like, the original musical number was in the background. It was understated. It was fine. Jabba likes music. There's some guys playing music. There's some chicks dancing. Boom. Doesn't detract from the movie. But in this, just the movie takes a screeching halt. And then you go to the musical number that does nothing for the movie except show off, hey, look what we can do. Like, no, fuck you. You don't need to do that. That's unnecessary. I read an article today about how Lucas was fixated on the cantina scene in the original Star Wars because that's what he really, really wanted to show. And this is sort of like goes into how he's sort of drunk with what he can do. And he just goes off showing more aliens that you don't need to show more of. It's literally it's an extra scene that can be cut out of the movie, and I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't do anything. I mean,
Nope.
there's no plot advancement from having that scene. You don't learn anything about Jabba. You don't learn anything about the society of Tatooine at that point.
Absolutely. But other than that, I mean, the Jabba Palace scenes are great. I mean, it shows a little bit of everything, how Luke's using his Force powers to predict what might happen so that he's got this great plan.
Mm-hmm.
And crap, through this whole thing, I feel like at the end of it, he should be, swing over to the last skiff with Leia and get a cigar and go, I love when a plan comes together.
No shit.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like. It's perfect. Dowdark mentioned how he doesn't like the fact the most amazing badass bounty hunter in the universe dies like a Looney Tune bitch. So, Dowdark, I want you to know, no one ever said that he was the most amazing badass bounty hunter in the universe. That all came afterwards. Literally, what does he do? He tracks Han Solo. Good job. Other than that, he does nothing. I mean, let's be honest.
How did
people's word that he's badass?
Let's examine that for just a half a second, because Belinda and I watched watched Empire Strikes Back last night. How did they not know that Slave One was right behind them?
Well, I give that a little bit of movie leeway. Like he's probably not quite that close. He might have stealth stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. That doesn't break my suspension of disbelief.
All right.
I'm like, for cinematic purposes, like you can see him flying off. Oh, cool! Thumbs up. We know what's going on.
Okay. Belinda is ultra salty about that particular scene, by the way. Ultra salty.
That still falls under my suspension of disbelief. There are things that don't.
All right.
I don't mind that Boba Fett died as easily as he did. Like I said, we don't have any real knowledge. He didn't do anything. He looked cool. We built him up to be this awesome bounty hunter, and apparently, boom! Later he made him an awesome bounty hunter. But there was nothing that said he was an awesome bounty hunter. So
he was good enough to get his old man. His old man was good enough to get the job with the aliens in in episode 2.
Yeah. Oh my.
I'm sorry.
So I noticed something about that. Thinking about it, I'm like, well, Boba Fett's left-handed because he holds his blast rifle with his left hand, at least in this movie. I'm like, I wonder if stormtroopers are left-handed. I noticed a couple scenes later when Luke turns his up in. Well, damn, those stormtroopers are holding their grips in their left hand.
How about
It's
that?
an interesting piece of unexpected continuity I wasn't really looking for.
You don't expect a lot of continuity out of George Lucas. You just don't.
The battle at the end, which, I mean, let's be honest, that's the main crux of the movie, is the battle at the end.
Yep, fact.
I don't know how you make. I mean, the director of the movie should take his hats off, take a bow, because he managed to keep each section interesting, and you want more of each section as they go from section to section. Even the battle on Endor with the Ewoks and all. And I want to point out, Ewoks are not like the pushovers people think they should be. Like, yeah, they look cute, but I think they use that to their advantage. Let's be honest.
They're like cats.
They're carnivorous. They were going to eat people.
They're like cats. I mean, you can't keep your eye. You gotta keep an eye on a cat. And
think about it. Like, one of them jumps on a speeder bike and pretty quickly understands how to use it. They're not dumb. They jump on the Scout Walker. They figure out how to get it working. In a couple scenes, you see one where he holds up with her cheering, and he's got a blast rifle, and he knows how to use it. He's got hand on the grip, ready to put the business end towards bad guys. I mean, I think that's kind of underrated about the Ewoks, and I think they went so far to show them so cute for toys that they didn't really convey the warrior aspect of them, which sort of makes it look kind of like, oh, I can't believe Stormtroopers got beat by Ewoks. Well, let's be honest. Having the home turf and surprise goes a long way towards winning a fight.
not for nothing, but I mean, all you have to do is stand in one place, and a stormtrooper's not gonna kill you. God, but nothing is precise.
I look at that. Actually, if you look at that, a lot of those rebel troopers got killed. So those stormtroopers aren't horrible.
Yeah.
It's just they can't hit people with names. I mean, it's a standard convention for movies. You got a name? Oh crap! I can't hit you. And the space battle is so good because it shows just enough to keep your mouth watering. You see lots of fighter battle, which I really feel is the true strength of Star Wars, is the fighter battles.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to see the capital ships like we just saw Revenge of the Sith, and the capital ships duking it out at each other. We don't care about that. Whatever. That's not as exciting. You don't need to see it. It's watching the fighters fight, because that's the key point of it. I feel like it's more about the individual, what he can do in that. I feel that's sort of a little theme maybe they're going for, or at least an idea going through it. It was super cool.
Yeah, I enjoy this movie. I enjoy this movie. I think it's a lot of fun to watch. The graphics had come such a long way since the first movie. The battle of Death Star 2 was so visually fun to watch. Really enjoyed it. The Millennium Falcon duking through all the pipes and stuff like that on the way down to the reactor was amazing. And
oh yeah, that was cool.
And Dowdark made a reference to the Ewoks. I'm not going to repeat, but it was pretty funny.
Nope.
So, folks, if you want to know what Dowdark puts into the chat room, you have to be here live, like the other 20 people who are watching tonight. So,
yep. And my last note in the movie is, so originally, I think if he had originally filmed it with the cheering and all the places where it showed cuts to different planets and them cheering,
mhm.
I think that would have been a good ending because it shows like this is the end of the series.
Yeah.
We're done. The Empire's defeated, quote unquote defeated. Everyone's cheering. Good. Cool ending. But I feel like since we know The Force Awakens coming out now, you have to remove that ending because it's not the end. The good guys didn't win. They won another battle. They haven't won the war.
Nope.
And that's sort of one of those things, you know. I feel like he sort of missed the bus on this whole thing. If he'd had this ending originally and removed it back down to for Force Awakens coming out, or someone had, that would be better because now you're like, oh look, there's more coming on.
So, Dowdark is in some rare form in the chat room tonight.
Yes.
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 So, yeah, I think that I think that we don't exactly know where George was going to take this series in the sequels. I'm just glad he didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, that's true.
And
he lost his mojo somewhere. He needs to get it back.
yeah, well, he can retire. He's retired now on Skywalker Ranch with his 84 bajillion space bucks that Disney gave him, and just be happy that someone competent is in the controls now. So
Yep.
I'm pretty excited. Coming to us this week. I will have seen the movie by the time the show is on, so expect a very high in Star Wars content show next week.
Yeah, and we will do our darn best not to spoil a damn thing in that, but we can't guarantee anything. You know how excited people get.
Yep. So please, if you're hearing my voice, go see Star Wars: The Force Awakens before 7 p.m. tomorrow on Sunday.
We'll give you plenty of spoiler warning next week before we spoil. We're gonna try not to. We always try not to.
Yep. I hate spoilers.
I understand everyone can't see it the opening weekend like we can. I understand. We'll do our best, and if we try and get spoilers, then we'll try and give you some sort of wave off or something.
But just expect this to be one long verbal orgasm next next week. We've been waiting a long time for this one, folks.
We can give it a rating. Pre-special edition, I'll give it 0 shots of Kraken. Special edition, 1 shot of Kraken.
Yep,
deserves a shot.
I'm with you. I'm at 0 for the original version. I'm at 1 shot for the other version. I will say that if you are a video gamer and you have $60 you don't know what to do with, go get Battlefront. It is mindless, awesome entertainment, and you get to play out the Battle of Hoth. You get to play out the battle to get to run around in Endor, battling AT-ATs. It's super fun, completely mindless, and double awesome.
I played the first two, and the Battle of Hoth in the first one was so damn tough. That was like one of those few legitimately challenging but not frustrating video game challenges I've ever had.
I'm going to also tell Tadgo here, officially, fuck Fallout 4. Screw that game.
Oh, snap.
Screw that game. I bought it. I spent $60 on it. Fuck that game. It's if I wanted to build a town simulator, I'd play SimCity.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like my thing necessarily, but let's be honest, I'm still playing Borderlands 2 when I get it to load.
Yep, there you go. I'm all in on the Battlefront. It's not complicated. It is not a hardcore gamer's game. It's just fun dying over and over and over again as some nameless grunt shooting at an AT-AT with a hand weapon for all she's worth. It is as good as it gets. And you can fly an X-Wing, and you can fly an A-Wing, and you can fly a TIE Interceptor, and all kinds of crap. It's like I get to live out all my geek fantasies over and over and over again. I just can't play as Princess Leia, and that makes me sad. So I'm waiting for that DLC. Come on, EA. Let me play as Princess Leia. I want to wear a cheesy bikini and run around on Hoth. Be the best ever.
Oh my.
All right, man. Yes, you can crash an X-Wing. You can crash anything in that game. I am living proof. You can crash the shit out of anything. It's amazing. Anyway, so, and you can play multiplayer, which is super cool with your kids. So I've been having fun with that. So, John, this is the end of the episode, I think.
It is.
So, tune in next week when we basically have a verbal bukkake session over The Force Awakens, and it's going to be amazing. And we'll be back same bat time. I could better put on some music because that's the thing that we do here. There it is. Oh God, the dulcet tones. The dulcet tones of the. You know, it's a funny thing now. The number one most watched YouTube on the Menoth John YouTube channel is the 2-hour version of this. Just 2 hours of the Bob Ross theme over and over for 2 hours. It's what does that tell you about our show? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Menoth John. That's John Spencer. We're gonna be back next week. This is the Painting with Menoth John show. Shit, this is more fun than you ought to be able to have. And there you go. So, good night, everybody. See you next week.